Welcome back, everyone. Well, you know, it's a lot of people say the biggest investment anyone ever makes is their home. And I can tell you firsthand that that's true. And you also know that lately we've been chasing down a lot of issues concerning affordable housing and people buying homes and first-time home buyers and things like that. And today we're continuing in that series, and we're joined by two experts in the field. Luisa Craige-Sherman, who's the Association Executive and CEO of the Southern Adirondack Realtors. Welcome back, Luisa.
Thank you, Jesse. Good to see you.
And joining us is Mike Kelly. And Mike is the Government Affairs Director for the New York State Association of Realtors.
That's
Welcome,
right.
Mike.
Thank you, Jesse.
Made it through the introductions.
Well done.
Thank you both for coming in. You are experts in the field, and you're proposing something to the legislative branch of New York State government concerning a bill for first-time home buyers.
That's correct.
And I grew up in an era when, you had a little bit of student debt, which you kind of paid off in a couple of years. And then, you kind of saved for a home and you didn't put all your money into rent and things like that. And it's changed drastically. Yes. And it's very difficult for first-time home buyers, whether they're young or they're older. It's not an age thing, but it is very difficult, right?
It is.
So, Michael, what's behind this idea to help people purchase their first home?
Sure. Thank you. We've seen home ownership rates across the country drop since 2004 at a high of about 69%, now to somewhere around 63%. People aren't entering the home ownership market like they did in the past. In particular, younger folks, millennials, that's a term people use these days, are entering the market at a lower rate than they have in the past. So our realtor members tell us across the state that this is an issue that we need to take up and address. So we're proposing legislation in both the Assembly and Senate that would take this issue up.
Now, that bill is currently before them, right?
It is, yes.
It is, okay.
Yep. And in fact, it just came out of the Senate Housing Committee this morning.
It did, and it passed?
It did.
Okay, good. And we're going to let you know what you can do to help get this bill pushed through. But let's talk a bit about it. Now, you, as part of the Southern Adirondack Realtors, you see this all the time. What you frequently hear now is interest rates are at an all-time low. Mm-hmm. The housing market, it's a buyer's market. You hear a lot of that. But that's not the issue, is it?
But getting into the market is tough. And in New York State, it's even harder. We have some of the highest mortgage fees and recording tax fees in the country. Mm-hmm. Coming up with a down payment, again, when the millennials are dealing especially with student debt that is unprecedented, that we've not seen before, getting that down payment, and then on top of that, some of the high costs of the closing portion of it, it cuts them out of the market.
It cuts them out of the market, that's what it does.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's the NY First Home,
correct?
Isn't that the name of it?
That's right.
And if you think about it in terms of education, any adults out there, parents or grandparents, you'll recognize a college savings fund, a 529. It's somewhat similar to that idea, isn't it, Mike?
It is, yeah. We've modeled our proposal that's before the legislature off the state's 529 education program. It essentially incentivizes people to put money away for the purchase of that first home. So the parent or the grandparent could put money away for their child or grandchild. The individual or the couple could also be saving for their own first home purchase. So the incentive really is a tax credit against your personal income taxes for the amount that you've deposited into that NY First Home Savings Account.
How does that work?
So let's say in 2016 I save up $5,000 towards a future purchase of a first home. And that's important. I can't have owned a home at any other time, and my spouse can't have owned a home at any other time to participate in the program. I put $5,000 away. When I do my personal income taxes next April, I would take a $5,000 deduction against those personal income taxes.
Mm-hmm. And you can use the money that's saved for any aspect related to the closing costs for purchasing that home. So it could be for a down payment, it could go for any of the fees, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
What kind of fees are there, Luisa?
Well, you're talking mortgage recording, transfer, property transfer fees, attorney fees, title search, things like that.
Right.
It would come up under a normal closing process.
And anyone that's gone through this process, you realize that those fees can really add up. You know, they're the things that you don't think about off the cuff.
That's right.
Sometimes you think to yourself, okay, so the home costs $100,000 and they want 20% down. Where am I going to find 20 grand, $25,000?
Right.
But by the time you add all these other costs in, it can be considerably more. Isn't that right?
It can be. You know, we have some of the highest closing costs in the entire country. You add that onto what banks are going to require as a down payment. You add that onto the attorney's fees, bank fees, and that leads to the challenge, that burden, that barrier to home ownership that a lot of people are facing.
You know, and it all adds up to what I think I opened with, which is that, you know, for most of us, our home is our biggest asset. It's our biggest investment. And if you stay in that home over the course of your life, it helps you with your retirement. It helps with all that. And then you think about the first-time homeowners. They're just so dying to have a place to call home. And this is really helping them. So what can the viewers do? Because this bill is pending, right?
It is, yeah. It's
right.
before both houses of the legislature right now. I would suggest viewers go to nyfirsthome.com, excuse me.
Okay.
You'll learn more about the program at that website. You can also take action at the website and let your lawmaker, your state representative know that you're supportive of this type of program.
Good. What's that website again? One more time.
nyfirsthome.com.
Okay, nyfirsthome.com. By the way, one of the chief sponsors of this bill is our own Senator Betty Little. And, you know, knowing her for over a decade now myself, I can absolutely know why she's involved in this. You know, she's so dedicated to this kind of a thing. Well, thank you both very much for coming in.
Thank you.
And I just think that this bill, like the education bills, you know, it gives people an opportunity that they otherwise might not be able to have. Right, Mike?
That's right.
Right. Best of luck with this.
Thank
Great
you
to
so
see you
much.
again, Luisa.
Great. I hope it passes and parents and grandparents can start contributing when a child is 1 week old.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you both very much.
Thanks for your time.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.